Hello, welcome back to JJ's Bakehouse. I'm Ginny and today I am going to be making with you a cookie millionaire cake. So you get the millionaire shortbread and I thought I could adapt this round by putting the cookie on the bottom instead of the shortbread, and it is so nice. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make this in full. I'm even going to show you how to make the caramel as well. So bear with me if you're not making caramel and you're just going to use it from a tin and then just skip this part of the video out. So I'm going to begin with the caramel so that it gives it a chance just to set down, and then we'll put the cookie into the oven. So I'm going to move you on my camera, bring you closer to my cooker so that you can see exactly the stages of how to make the caramel. So bear with me. Okay, so as you can see my saucepan here. I've got ingredients of, I've got 250 grams of sugar, so that's going straight into the pan. I've got 120 grams of butter, and I've also got a teaspoon of vanilla, because I love to put vanilla in things, and I've got 70 mils of, or grams of cream. So they're my ingredients. Now this is a slow process. My oven is on number 5 here, my stove, and the temptation with caramel is that you just put it up high and just let it go. And that's the worst thing you can do, because it will burn and it won't give you that really nice light amber colour. It will go quite brown. And if your caramel goes brown, you know you've just taken it too far. So you have to go with a medium's heat, and this is going to take around about 10 minutes, this whole process. Very slightly catch on the bottom. So just give it a shake off. And now we're just going to wait for about 30 seconds for that to catch. You have to be so careful, because if it burns, that you've lost your caramel and all this aching of my arm was pointless. So you should see it start to grip around the side. Right, let's have a look. No, not quite stuck yet. It's still loosely working across the bottom there. So still wait. There we go. We've got some, if you can see there, the colour's changing across the bottom. Okay, and then when I come round, look at these clumps that you've got. This is what you need. These are the crystals of the sugar starting to form. It's clinging more and more now to the bottom of the pan. So again, I'll just give it a stir round. Just going to leave it for about 10 seconds, and then we'll scrape again, just so that we can get that heat distributing nicely all around. Lovely. And there we go again. And it's still very light. And you can hear that hitting the side of the pan, so make sure you really scrape around the outsides, because otherwise you're going to end up with it stuck on the pan. And now we just keep going. Push it down to the bottom and lift it back off again. Always get into those sides. Once it begins to go, it will happen quite quickly. So you can hear those crystals there. This is normal, don't let it worry you. Lovely. Just give it a second there again on the bottom. Just for those looser bits, because obviously the finer bits are dropping to the bottom there. Okay. Stir that round again. You never want to leave them on the bottom for too long. And obviously always be very careful. This is extremely hot. So now it's going to start turning into liquid. You can see it's all sticking everywhere. I'm just going to quickly change my spatula just because I don't want my fingers to be too close as it turns. Okay, just give that a minute again on the bottom. We've got quite a lot of sugar in here, so if the more the sugar, the wider your pan should go, so that the surface area of that sugar is hitting the bottom of the pan. You probably could have done with just going one size up for this amount of sugar really on the pan, but we've got there. And it's starting to come in big clumps now. It's sticking around the sides, so be careful. A couple of minutes and we'll be there now. And you see that all those crystals now will just start to dissolve. And we'll start to get the liquid which is forming now. Keep trying to scrape around those outsides. There we go, getting it all across the bottom there. And there we are, we've got the liquid all coming through now, and it's not gone really dark. Just need the patience with this one. Okay, as you can see that's coming, so I'm going to turn that off and I will be straight back to you as soon as it's dissolved. Okay, I'm nearly dissolved, not quite, but just so that you know, I've just pulled it off the heat slightly. Keep watching the colour, see that's gone browner now. You don't want it to get any browner than that because it'll be burning. So we're just pulling it off the heat. And just let these bits melt into the hot syrup that there is here without too much on there, because you're just going to burn it otherwise. Right, so it's very, very nearly all done. Really, I just have to watch the colour. You want it to stay caramel colour, like this is here. It's a lovely amber colour. The minute it goes past amber and it goes to brown, you'll smell it. You'll smell that it won't be caramel anymore. It smells more treacle-like, which will have a harsher taste. Right. Okay. I am just going to put this back on the heat for a moment. So there's a couple of little bits, so it just needs warming up. Just to get those last couple of bits there to dissolve. And then we're going to put our butter in. You have to be really careful when you put butter in because it's going to spit everywhere. So you have to keep your hands back. There, doesn't want to. There we go. Just give them a bit of a help. Push them into the bottom, they'll dissolve because obviously that's where the heat is. Right. So now we're going to add the butter, because that should have warmed back up because we took it off the heat. And initially it won't look like it's doing anything, and then it's just going to bubble straight away. So for this I'm just going to take it off of the heat here. So you can see there, we're going to drop this butter in. There we go. And stir. Being really, really careful. Mind your hands. Make sure it's off the heat. Keep stirring. It will look like it's split, but it hasn't. You just keep going. Okay, then just slowly back on the heat has just incorporated all of the butter with the caramel, and it looks so nice now. So this is what you're looking for. There. We've got it back on that heat to do that, and we're going to add the cream, and then this is going to be done. Now I used salted butter, and you use salted because I like salted caramel. If you don't want the salt in there, then just use regular, but I think it really does cut through it so well. Right, off it comes again, and in this goes. Again, it's fizzing up. Hands, be very careful. You're doing this off of the heat. Look at that lovely colour. Beautiful. And that's your caramel done. Make sure it's all incorporated. Now my arm is really hurting. Right, let me turn off my ring. There we go. This stuff on the side here, don't worry, it's not going to ruin your pan. Just boil the kettle and put lots of boiling water in. I'm going to add some salt. There we go. So I've probably got about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt extra that I'm putting in there, just because in the Cookie Millionaire it really does cut through it nicely. And that now can just go into a tub and we can get on with the rest. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, all transferred in, and I just put my vanilla in the top. So we're just going to give that vanilla a stir in as well. And then we're just going to put cling film over the top. Oh, it smells so good. Now when you want it to be so silky like this, if you do have any tiny little lumps that you had, don't bin it, just pop it through a sieve. And it'll be absolutely fine, just push it through a sieve. So long as you've got the right colour and it's not burnt, then you can fix it. So let's put some cling film over the top. Let it cool, leave it to one side, and we're going to get on with the cookie recipe. Okay, this is so easy just to make this cookie. So we'll start with, here I have got melted butter in there. It's not quite melted, but it's melted enough. There we go. And of that, I'm reading off of ingredients here. So I have got 140 grams of melted unsalted butter. Into that I'm putting 130 grams of brown sugar and also 65 grams of caster sugar. I've just got a hand mix, and I'm just going to quickly give that a whisk. Lovely. Sorry, it's noisy. And then I'm going to add 1 egg, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, And then that's my wet ingredients all in. So again, and done. No more noise. So get rid of these. And then we're just going to add, oops, things to fall. Right, then we're just going to add in the flour. So I've got 165 grams of plain flour. To that I am adding 1/8 of a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking powder. And then my final ingredient, which I love in cookies, is 1 tablespoon, I should say, of corn flour. This makes a cookie really chewy and light, really nice. So in that goes, and we're just going to fold this in. Obviously if I use the hand mixer at this point I would get absolutely covered. So it will come quite stiff, that's normal. And these cookies can just be made into individual cookies. This is my mixture that I use for just cookies. I love this recipe. So you can just put these into little balls. What I normally do is I freeze the balls before I put them into the oven, but that's completely your choice. Right, now we need some chocolate chips. And I'm using 150 grams of milk chocolate chips. So there's 100. I love bags, so that's to weigh anything. And half a bag. Done, 150. Again, mix all this in. Lovely. And we're going to transfer it into our tub. So I've got a square lined tin here. Just going to pop this in. My oven is preheated to 170 degrees on a fan assisted oven. Let's just hold this while the parchment paper scoops all around everywhere. Right, and this is going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes. So on a fan assisted, I'm on 170. For a conventional oven, do it on 180. Make sure that you get this all as even as you possibly can. Move that out of the way, can't see a thing I'm doing. And there we go. In the oven it goes. Okay, so the cookie is out of the oven and it took 20 minutes. I've left it on the side just to cool. So I'm going to tackle this with you now. I just managed to do it. So I've got a bottom that comes out. So what you want to do with the cookie is you just want to make sure that it is kind of level. So just go round, and I'm just going to take off a couple of the little bits across the top, just because we want it to be as level as we possibly can. Oops. If you wait until it's dry, then that will be ideal for you to do it, because then it's not all going to break everywhere. Make sure you've got a nice sharp knife. There we are, and that just tidies it all up a lot more. So then we need to get it into the tin. Now I've got a roll of this acetate here, fantastic, and this is great for doing things like this. I bought that on Amazon. So now I'm going to have to do this again with you, and I got ever so frustrated. I need to get this into here. Now I could try to, let's see if I can push it through. So I'm going to put the cake back into the tin. Let's see if I can do it an easier way than what it was just a minute ago. Right, and then I need to push this in through the cookie. So if I just lift the corners here, and then I'm just sliding this acetate around it, I'm feeding it in as best as I can, all the way around the cookie. There we go. Once you get it in a little bit, you can just push it down then. So all the way. Don't come back out. Lovely. Whoops, in. Right, and then you can just push it. Hey, we did it. Lovely. Right, so then what you need to do is just get some blue roll or something, or just use your finger. Everything's clean. And just get the crumbs off from around the outside. And then we're ready to put our caramel on the top. Now, when I did the caramel tutorial there with you, when I showed you how to do it, ignore the ingredients because it wasn't enough to cover this tin. I used the ingredients for the last tin I did and I thought it would be enough and it wasn't. So I will write, follow the tutorial exactly for the method and I'll write the exact ingredients in the box underneath and that's what you'll use for all of these. So just make sure that you use the right one for the caramel. So what we're going to do now is we're going to clear the side down and then we're going to put the caramel across the top and we're going to pop that in the fridge to set and then we'll put the chocolate on and it's done. It is actually really simple. So this is the thing that takes the longest, but if you want to cheat you can and just buy it in the supermarket and it'll be a lot easier, but I wanted to show you how to make the caramel so you can do it all from scratch. So let's tidy down and then we'll get this done. Okay, we're all cleaned down and we have caramel. So we're just going to pour this over the top. We've got this here because it's going to stop anything hitting. It's going to be so much easier to get out. So if you don't have those, this acetate, you don't have to have it. It's just going to make things look a lot neater around the sides. Right, let's pour all of this out. Not that. And then with a palette knife, we're just going to go around and make sure it's all even, up nice and close to those edges. Okay, then we're going to give it a little bang, make it all even, and this will go into the fridge now and we do nothing else with it until the top part has set enough to put chocolate on top of it. So we can do nothing else. I will be back. Okay, so in the fridge the caramel is set. So we need to now melt some chocolate to go across the top to finish it off. So I've got 250 grams of melted chocolate. No, I haven't. I've got 250 grams of chocolate in here and we are going to melt this in the microwave. So over we go. Okay, so this is all melted and lovely. And we can't do anything with it, it's too hot for the moment, so we just need to give that 2 or 3 minutes to just cool down a little bit before we put it across the top. Otherwise, if we put the heat on the caramel, it was pointless setting it because it's just going to start to melt it again and then we're not going to get a lovely clean top on it. So leave that for about 3 or 4 minutes and then we will put the top on and it'll be all finished. Right, okay, my chocolate has cooled. Look at this, look how nice this looks. It's got a lovely layer across the top. So now pour on the chocolate. Lovely. Let's bring it all over to the sides just like we did before. Nearly there. Right. And then one more little bang at the top. I just want that to be really level. Got a couple of little air pockets in the top that I'm not happy with, so I will just get rid of those with my finger, because it'll destroy my look. You don't need to do this, this is just me being really picky. Obviously when I stirred the chocolate, I may have just put a little bit too much air in it, might have done it a little bit vigorously. Right, so there we go. Happy with that now. Brilliant. That'll all settle in together. And into the fridge this goes, and we'll wait for this to completely cool, and then we're going to cut it up. So I'm giving this an hour into the fridge so that it's completely right. You don't want to spend all this time doing layers and then just say, oh, this looks really nice, I just want to eat some. So just wait the hour, we'll take it out, we'll cut it up, and we'll have a look and see what. Okay, right then, I'm out the fridge, it's that time. So I'm going to pull mine up. There we go. Pop it down there. And then, very, very loosely, pull this off. Slowly does it. Don't want to pull any of it off. There we go. Oh, look at that. Doesn't it look good? And then with a hot knife, all you need to do then is we will cut all around the top of this. So I'm just going to get some hot water and then we're going to cut around it. Right. Time to trim the edges of this. So I've got a hot knife in the water on the back, and then just along the edges, trimming away to give it all that lovely uniformed look all around the side. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you how you can give it these looks, if that's what you want. Don't touch any of the chocolate that you have melted, that's melting there. Get that flush. Lovely. And then just lift those top bits off that are here. There we go. And there. And all the way around. There we are. So that's all trimmed and ready, and just ready for us to cut it up. So that's what we need to do. Right, it's time to cut it. So I'm still on my base here. I'm going to leave it on there for a moment. Right, I've got a knife in the water on the back, which I just want to make sure that enough it covers the blade there. Right, grab a tea towel, bit of wipe, and then in we go. It is going to be quite hard because it's been in the fridge. So I'll make my lines first so that I know where I'm going. inside out there. And we're going in. One. Turn it around. And the other part. Right, and then I'm just going to take one bit off of here, so I'm just going to warm this knife back up again. Lovely. And then about that size there. Make my indentation. And then I would keep this out of the fridge because the caramel will be quite hard otherwise. And here we are. There is our cookie millionaire cake. What do they call them? Millionaire shortbread. Well, this is a millionaire cookie. So there we are. And on the inside there you can see all the way through. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you really enjoy these. They are so good. And I'll speak to you soon. You take care. Bye.